Hello and welcome to BusyWorksBeats.com. If you don't know me, I'm Game from BusyWorksBeats.com. We train over 1 million producers around the world. Some have won Grammy, some have gone to work with Drake, Kanye West, Post Malone, Ariana Grande, French Montana, Young Thug, Polo G, Trippie Redd, Lil Baby, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. Long list of folks. And today I'm going to show you the 7 things you guys need to know to learn music production a lot faster. I'm the definition of somebody who came up from a bedroom studio. Like literally I was in my parents' extra bedroom. All I had was a laptop from school, and I used that to build out my first music studio and then learned how to make beats, and then went on to train some of the top producers in the world. So what we're going to do is go over a couple things. Firstly is I want you guys who are beginners to only learn 3 new things at a time. The issue that you guys have, and it's counterintuitive, is you want to go in, you think you're going to learn everything all at once. And the problem is we want to be like Metro Boomin day one. So we'll go out, we'll learn 808 slides, we'll learn how to mix, we'll learn how to range, we'll learn all this stuff. And because our brain just considers it overwhelm and we can't retain the information, it's almost worse than just learning 3 things that you can comprehend by tomorrow. Okay, so what I recommend is you guys set aside 1 to 2 hours a day and just learn 3 things. Now, when you learn these 3 things, you want to implement these 3 things. Most people just watch stuff and they never do anything. So what I'm going to show you guys, for examples, let's say I'm a beginner producer and I just learned how to do hi-hat rolls. So let's do that first. Let's right click and fill each 2 steps. Now we have some hi-hats. Let's go to song mode. Let's make this 4 bars long so that it goes all the way through. And let's say we want to make some hi-hat rolls. Okay, so now we go in, we might turn the volume down. Let's right click, go to piano roll. And then we're like, okay, where do I want a hi-hat roll? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, roll. Okay, so I want to roll right here somewhere. So let's highlight these, hit control L. We're going to elongate the note, hit Alt U, and then change the time multiplier. I learned this from Chop Squad DJ. And it will chop up the note in whatever increment you choose. So I want another roll right here. So I'm going to hit control L, make the note longer, hit Alt U to chop it up. And let's say we want a hi-hat roll on a different note. Just gonna change it. Okay, so now we have a hi-hat roll. Now, again, what people try to do is they're beginners and they think they can learn everything in one day. That's a huge mistake, because of the way it works is when it's like trying to go to the gym, trying to bench 500 pounds your first time. You might be able to get 1 rep in, but by tomorrow your muscles are torn. You actually created more damage. And there's less growth because now you can't go back to the gym the next day to actually work out to build that muscle and build that tension. You've already blown your muscle and now it takes 2 months to recover. So the same thing happens with knowledge. People try to overly take in knowledge and it actually overwhelms the system. Let's add a clap in here just to show you guys some basic production. Another thing, so these are the 3 concepts. And let's say you learned how to create bass lines and what's called the minor add 9 chord. I can go deeper with all the concepts, but what we're going to do here is just create the minor add 9 chord. I'll show you what it sounds like and then what it looks like. So let's add this in. Gotta do it again, my finger slipped. Let's do this again. Okay, so those are simply minor add 9 chords. The chord in the middle is a major 7th chord. So this is a minor, what's called a triad. The chord code is 0, 3, 7. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That always makes the minor chord every single time. And then add 7 notes from what's called the perfect 5th. And that gives you what's called the add 9. So now we have an R&B vibe. Let's quantize this a little bit. Okay, so now we have stuff quantized. Just showing you guys how fast you can learn this stuff. Okay, now once you have those 3 concepts, now the next concept I didn't cover here is, let's say you learned how to make bass lines. Now with bass lines, we have what's called the root note. So we could use the bottom note of this chord, and then we could just play that, or we could play an octave higher. So it would be, okay, these 2 notes, or we could play, we could play a perfect 5th, which is 7 notes up. So let's add a bass line here, just using this basic concept of either playing the root note of the chord that we just played, the octave of it, or playing those 5ths as in between notes. So let's just try. turn this down a little bit. I'm not sure why it's so loud. Let's do it again. Record. Okay, so I added the octave in there. Here's the perfect fifth. So now we're combining the techniques that we actually just learned, and this will help you guys create new styles because you won't be forced to go back into your habit, which is to do the same genre, same technique over and over again. Okay, so that's just the first concept of learning 3 new concepts a day. And just, I would say, okay, I've learned enough today, and then stop there. Most people would keep going, and they overwhelm themselves. Okay, so that's the problem a lot of beginners have. They think they could do everything, and we all do, but there's actual negative cost to doing that. So once you understand those 2 tips, those are the 2 major tips out of the 7. The next tip here is called a chord code. So a chord code is basically how to create any chord from scratch, knowing nothing about music theory. I could teach anybody how to create a chord. What I'm going to do here is close my eyes and pick a note. Okay, so we landed on B. So let's say I wanted to make a B minor 9th chord. The chord code would be 037. That's the minor triad. 0 is the root note that you start at. So this is the root note wherever you land. This is 0 because it's a point of no relative distance. Okay, so it's the reference point. So it's 0. And we're going to count up our keyboard. 0. Note by note. 1, 2, 3. This is the second note. And then hold those 2 notes. Continue counting. 4, 5, 6, 7. That gives us what's called a minor triad, and it always will give us a minor triad no matter where we are in the keyboard. Okay, so I'm playing this with a bass guitar, so it's a little hefty in the low end here. Let's chop this. All right, now to continue, the chord code is 0, 3, 7, 10, 14. So let's keep counting. 0, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's add that note in. 11, 12, 13, 14. And then play all these notes together. And you always get a minor 9th chord. So you just learned advanced jazz theory in a matter of seconds. Okay, using chord codes. All right, now another concept you guys want to understand is called tresillo. So tresillo is basically how we create drum patterns. For the most part, this applies to melody as well. But tresillo is ta, 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 ta. It's used in Jersey club. It's used in drill music. It's used in mob music. It's used in hip hop. It's used in trap. It's used in Afrobeat. It's used in reggaeton. All the major genres use what's called tresillo. So it just means we're playing equidistant notes. Okay, so it's just, and I could just repeat this, boom, boom, boom. That's tresillo. Now, tresillo does not always have to start at the downbeat. It could be kind of moved anywhere. So I'm just gonna level these sounds here. And that's what creates that dancey bounce. So let me show you guys how to offset tresillo. So a cool way to discover new stuff is to hit Control Shift and then left click and right arrow in your actual channel rack in FL Studio. This is a way to discover new ways to do tresillo. That's offset tresillo. See how it has a bounce? So you could offset this. It's always going to have that bounce. So just experiment with tresillo. That's going to advance you guys really fast. Nextly is just understanding hotkeys. Now this is going to take some time, but I have another video about FL Studio hotkeys and the piano roll. I'm sure I have a video. Just go to busyworksbeats.com. We have a free FL Studio 21 course so you guys can get up to speed on FL Studio, all the hotkeys you need to know. There's a lot to teach. I'm not going to cover hotkeys in this video, but you know, hotkeys is how you quickly go through production without stumbling on something and being stuck. So like a hotkey here is quantize, Alt Q, and just messing with that parameter. Or understanding the humanize tool and the piano roll options here. to make your click and melodies a little more realistic. Or the Alt U that we showed you guys for the hi-hat rolls. So there's a lot of hotkeys. But the next thing you want to focus on is the sequencer. So the channel rack here has a sequencer, and this is the kind of the heartbeat of FL Studio. And this is where you guys want to understand how to create patterns. A lot of beginners, they make everything in one pattern. I would not recommend that. I would separate sounds. Okay, so when you guys are understanding the sequencer, make sure you separate the sounds. So notice I have the kick and snare by itself. The hi-hat is by itself. You know, everything's separated, because when it's time to arrange, if this were all one pattern, I couldn't arrange it. You just copy and paste it. You're not arranging anything. But if I have them separated, now I can say, okay, I only want the bass line over here, and I want the rest, you know, to not play. Let's take out the chords, for example. So now I'm arranging because everything is separated. Okay, so that's, you know, understanding that sequencer is going to be key to separate your sound so that you guys can arrange better. There's a lot of shortcuts. I'm not going to cover everything about the sequencer because I don't use everything. I just like to right click, fill each 2 steps with the hi-hat. Sometimes I'll go to the sample, go to the wrench tool, add time shift. So this creates a delay. I'm going to make it so you guys can obviously hear the delay. So it just adds a delay to the timing. That's key for the sequencer. Trecio. So 1, 2, 3. Boom, 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 boom. That's all trecio. It's because they're equidistant notes. Let's realize this only went up to a certain amount. Let's extend that. See how simple it is once you guys understand the fundamentals. Let's say you wanted a hi-hat roll. You can also go to the graph editor here, mess with this note repeat feature. There's other features like, you know, individual time shift. I rarely use this stuff, but keep in mind the note repeat on this is more of a fast glitch than a longer hi-hat roll. See how it just like glitches real fast? It doesn't hold the note. So just be careful with this feature. All right, so that's the sequencer. And lastly is just plugins. You guys got to just do a deep dive on plugins the same way I did a deep dive on guitar pedals. You know, before I bought any guitar pedals, you guys just got to go explore plugins. There's billions and millions of plugins out there, I'm sure. And some give you different sounds. Some are dedicated to certain genres. It just depends. So you guys want to make sure you just take that time and just study plugins, because plugins are going to be a huge part of you guys' production. So if I go back, for example, this idea that we have here, and let's go through a preset. And just off that little small rhythm, we can create a whole production just like that. Let's just add this over here, loop this area, and create a whole new idea just like this. Let's go to a different pattern and then record this in. So this synth sounds really nice. It's a free synth so far. I'm not sure when they're going to make that not free. All right, so now we have a whole vibe. It's off of those. There's a lot more to teach you guys about FL because we didn't cover everything here. But don't be afraid to turn up your volume either. That's why your drums sound weak, because they're low volume. Now we already got something that sounds like a beat. Now I teach a 4-layered system. I'm not going to go into everything about everything here, guys, but let's add like a Moog sound here just for the bass. And all we really need for this is a bass and a top line. The top line is usually the artist, however. Let's just see if we could add this bass. So I think we started at A, right? Yeah, we started at A and then we went to D. So you guys can learn music theory at busyworksbeats.com. I have a bunch of music theory stuff. Look for the music theory bundle. that was just a quick little bass line. And again, I picked a random preset sound, so. So again, we could be here all day. But now we already have a beat just like that, using that 4-layer approach. We have the contrast layer here. We have the chords, the rhythm, and now we just need a top line. So the top line is going to come from the artist again most of the time. Okay, so now we can add over top of this. I'm just going to use my keyboard sound here. All right, so it's just fundamentals of music theory here. So just like that, we have a top line, more of a textural top line in this case. If you guys notice, we're using tresillo on the bass, so it goes tresillo like that. So it translates to the bass too. So those are the 7 tips I have for you guys to learn music production way faster. All right, guys, if you want to learn more, go to busyworksbeats.com and join for free. Peace out, guys.